All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. One of the cool things that I keep starting these episodes by saying, "Oh, there's something cool that I'm doing now that I'm at home and doing this over Zoom." But it is really nice that I've been able to, because I'm doing more episodes than I used to, and I'm doing them in a more convenient way. I've been able to talk to a whole bunch of new people whose music I wasn't familiar with, and I've also been able to reconnect with a lot of artists who have been on the show before, and just for whatever reason hadn't been on again. And the guest on this episode is someone who definitely falls in that category. I was trying to think of when you were last on, and it's been probably 5 years now, 4 or 5 years.
Some close to that, yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem like that long, but I think it actually was. And before we get into introducing you and all this, I think that at the time you were just putting your solo band together. So things have changed like pretty drastically since you've been involved in so much stuff. So I think
Yeah.
that we need to cover some of that territory before we get into what you're doing now. But before we hit any of that, if you want to introduce yourself and maybe just give a bit of background about what it is you do musically, that would be a good way to start.
Yeah, for sure. Hey everybody, my name is Ronnie Ladobruk. I'm a these days I don't even know what to put first. Guitarist, singer, songwriter, singer, guitarist, songwriter, whichever people know me more as
I would think
and
guitar, right? Guitar seems like the touch point a lot of people have with you, just because you've been so prominently a guitar player for so long.
yeah, and that's wicked. I love that. Yeah, I guess we could go guitarist, singer, songwriter. And yeah, I play in the rock band Ronnie Ladobruk and the Electric. I do lots of session work, and I even fill in for bands from time to time. I just love every second of it. So
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I haven't talked to you on here for a while, but I've been following you on social media, and it seems like you are very actively doing stuff, whether it's working on stuff with your current band, or like you said, doing session work for other people, or you just seem to always have your finger involved in some sort of pie musically in Manitoba, really, which is really cool to see. That a lot of people have struggled, I think, and maybe you have too. I'm not sure, during this pandemic, with finding outlets for creativity and finding ways to stay involved in the music scene. And from what I can tell, based on your online presence, anyway, it seems like you've managed to keep involved to a certain extent.
yeah, it's been it's funny. I was talking with somebody about this the other day. I'm always very positive on social media and very like I try actively to promote positivity and stuff like that, but there were definitely struggles this whole time here the past like 2 years, I guess you
Yeah.
could say. Now it's definitely been rough. I've definitely been in my lowest points, but just kind of knowing that I have the guitar as an outlet has really helped me through it. um when we couldn't play shows, I was focusing on building a YouTube channel, and like in the first like month or so, I was doing covers. Like one of my biggest heroes on the guitar is like Randy Rhoads, so I
Yeah.
would do some Randy Rhoads guitar solos, and I managed to get like something like 200,000 views in the first like 2 months.
That's awesome.
I
Wow.
I I don't even know what happened. People just caught on and loved it. It was wild. So I'm just building my YouTube presence and doing what you can, like staying connected with people. In 2020, we did a live stream concert at
Yeah.
Bankside Music Festival. That was cool to play in person again and stuff like that. So
Well, I get the feeling that things like those guitar covers, it seems like it's stuff you would have been doing anyway, just because of your dedication to that instrument. And I guess you've just sort of found a way to take, learning one of your favorite guitarist solos, and then just putting that out there to an audience to sort of share the love, I guess, right?
yeah, and like that's the thing is like before these crazy times, it was like I was always learning that stuff and trying to post it on YouTube and stuff, but I never really had the time because it was more band practice, playing live shows. So now there was kind of an opportunity to sit down and focus on maybe building a YouTube presence, social media, because that's so important these
Yeah.
days. It's actually wild how important it is. But
So how has that sort of helped you over this time? I mean, I know that definitely locally you're well known as a guitar player for sure. I mean, the amount of, I'm sure you get tons of opportunities to perform with other local bands, and like you said, doing session stuff. But this has obviously given you a chance to reach out further with things like the YouTube channel, and sort of get your name out there, sort of beyond Winnipeg and Selkirk and the rest of Manitoba.
yeah, for sure, it's wild. There's actually one opportunity I actually got from social media, and it's so funny. So I had Twitter and I hadn't logged onto my Twitter account for like ever. Like I just kind of forgot about it in this yeah, like I would check it before, but with the pandemic and everything, I was like, I'm not really gonna check it. So I ended up logging in just by chance one day and I saw that I was tagged in a post.
Okay,
And Hawksley Workman had
cool.
actually posted on Twitter saying like, who are some of the young shredders out there? Who are some young guitarists out there? And people were tagging me in it, and I never saw it because I never logged into social media. So I'm thinking like, oh my god, like I just missed like an amazing
Yeah,
opportunity to potentially work with an amazing artist. Like I love Hawksley's music,
yeah,
and
it's great.
so I reached out to Hawksley and I DM'd him and I said like, hey, like my name is Ronnie Ladobruk. I'm from Winnipeg. Sent him some videos. He messaged me back and he was like, that's fantastic. Like we formed a friendship. I can actually say I'm friends with Hawksley Workman, and we were talking and I actually did some session work on his Christmas special that he did
Oh,
this
cool.
past like last year. And yeah, I did the guitar solo on his pet song that he always does. And it's just so wild to have that opportunity. I don't think that's something I would have necessarily got without social media or these crazy times going on. So
Yeah, yeah. It's cool when that stuff like that can happen because I mean it sort of is an equalizer where you can reach out to or be reached out to from like literally anyone, right? I mean
mhm,
everyone's on it in some manner, and yeah, something like that comes up, which is it. You're probably right. I mean, unless you'd met him in passing at a show or something, you
mhm.
probably wouldn't have happened an opportunity to actually like you said be friends with him.
Yeah, and it's wild. And just to kind of like talk with somebody like that who's had such acclaim and such an incredible songwriter, just to even talk shop, as you would say, with somebody like that.
Yeah,
I learned so much just from how to conduct myself, um how to go about I guess you would say setting up like a business interaction, stuff like that. Like it's just super cool. It's always a learning experience. So
yeah. Well, one thing you said at the beginning is sort of the difficulty in describing what you do as whether you're a guitarist or a singer or a singer guitarist or whatever you want to call it, right?
mhm,
It seems like your presence and abilities as a singer have gone up quite a bit in terms of just like your confidence level, right? I mean,
mhm.
I know you were singing before, but as someone who's kind of followed your career again through social media, it seems like you're singing. I don't know if you're singing more, but your singing seems more right out there, like right in front. It doesn't seem like there's any kind of nerves about it anymore. Is that the case? Like, do you feel like you've come a long way as a vocalist?
100%. And that's I really appreciate you actually noticing that. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been one of those things where like it's even like the guitar. Like when I first started learning the guitar, I was so awful. And like people sometimes will assume that there's like a natural talent thing that goes with it. No, I just worked very, very hard for a very
Yeah,
long time. And that's with singing too. Like I practice it every day. Uh, I've been trying really hard to get better, just focusing on getting a little bit better every day. And I guess through the years that's built up. I've kind of joked that I'll never be the best at anything, but I'll just keep working as hard as I can until I get to where I want to be at it. So
for sure. So what is I mean I think that like as I said you're well known as a guitar player and for your solos and people using you to kind of add some color to their songs and things like that. But what is your inspiration as a singer? Like where does your voice come from? Because that's a totally different type of tool to develop than guitar playing, right? So what is the background of that? Because I think you've talked a lot here and elsewhere sort of about your background as a guitarist and what that instrument means to you. But as far as singing, like where does that come from? What's the are there artists who you kind of grew up wanting to sound like or admiring that you've sort of developed your voice into I don't want to say a version of because it's your own thing, but you know what I
mhm.
mean?
Yeah, for sure. So many people won't believe me when I say this, but my favorite singer of all time is Sam Smith.
Okay.
I love Sam Smith. I think that they are just an amazing singer. And when I heard their album, I just like fell in love with the voice. And I tried to replicate that. I would sing the song, sing In the Lonely Hour album. I would have it in my truck when I'd go to work. I'd sing all of those songs.
Hmm.
That helped me build kind of like power in my voice, like trying to belt those songs out. So definitely Sam Smith. Of course, Lane from Alice in Chains, one of my
Yeah, yeah.
biggest. Yeah, like that's probably my biggest other than Sam Smith. Sean Morgan of Seether. Um, who else would I say? Lots of soul singers. I love soul music. One artist that people may not know who's just a wicked guitar player and singer is Richie Cotson.
Okay.
He played guitar for Poison for a bit, but he always did like his solo thing, and he's just got a wicked voice. Basically anybody who sings with like that heart and passion and soul, like um I would say those names I listed though are probably my biggest influences. So
Well, and I guess that passion and heart and soul can really cross over so many different genres too, right? It's not so much a style as it is like just the emotion behind it and the I guess the honesty and genuineness of it.
that's the beautiful thing about music is it genres don't really matter. It's when you can feel somebody singing or playing with passion and soul, it doesn't matter what type of music it is, you can relate to that and feel that. And I've really tried my best these past 2 years to kind of channel that into what I'm doing currently. So
Do you think that over sort of your time that you've become so much more involved in the music scene and working with all these different artists, has that broadened your horizons as well? Because I know you, I mean, I think people associate with you with a certain sound, and I don't think it's
mhm.
unfair to, because your band has a sound, and I think that some of these influences you're talking about would fit into that. And I mean, you've been on stage with a lot of kind of classic rock sort of artists as well, and
Mhm.
played those kind of shows, and I mean, alternative rock and hard rock and everything in that sort of category. But have you sort of expanded your musical palette just from being introduced to so many different kinds of artists and then working with them?
Yeah, 100%. I've been very grateful to have the chance to work with a lot of different artists of different genres. Like I actually received a Juno nomination
Yeah.
for work on Fresh IE's album there. Like I played on Blind Man Blues, which was so cool. Like I've been such a fan of Fresh for so many years. Like getting the chance to work with him was incredible. I just did some session work with I don't know if I can really say who it was, but it was another hip hop artist.
Oh, cool.
And that was really cool to kind of work in that type of music too. Like I just love all types of music. Like
Yeah.
I really I know that I'm really known for more of like the rock music type thing, which is super cool. That's my first love, that's my
Yeah.
passion. But
Yeah.
just kind of getting the chance to work with different artists in different genres is really incredible because it really helps you. Like working with Fresh was such a learning experience on how, like, I learned so much on like his process and just kind of like working in that environment, and I took it towards my own, what I was doing in my own band and stuff like
Yeah. Yeah.
that. And you gather these little things, um like it's kind of hard to explain because you pick up like little things, like whether it's like studio tricks or just like um staying focused, stuff like that. Like it's super cool, and you can take inspiration from everything, and that's what I've been doing. So
How big is the Juno nomination for you? I mean, I know it's like you said, it's a genre that you're not necessarily known for, and it's
mhm.
not your own song, but you're playing on someone else's song. But that's still got to be like a pretty big validation of you as a musician. The fact that you're getting recognized for your work on that track.
Yeah, it was a dream come true for sure. I think the biggest thing I really took from it was that, like, it's so funny with music, like and I find like so many artists like get told this, but it's like it's almost kind of, people will tell you that it's like an unreachable thing, and
Right.
then something like that happens, and it's like you realize that no, it's not. You can reach it. It's just a lot of hard work, and just I was so happy when he got nominated for the Juno, and just for myself to be even recognized. Um, like it's just incredible. It's just very motivating because you know that if you just keep working hard, it'll pay off. So
Yeah, someone's going to hear it, right? Whatever it is you're
yeah.
doing, if you put in the effort, and it's going to be good if you actually take the time to work on it, right? So that seems like kind of an ongoing sort of theme of yours, right? You seem like a very positive guy about music and about the fact that you're just going to keep doing this regardless of who's listening and how many people are listening, and you seem like one of those guys who's just you'll be 70 and wherever your career has gone between now and then, you're still going to be probably doing YouTube videos or whatever the follow up to YouTube is by then, and you'll still be recording and playing with other people. Like it just kind of comes across that you're one of those guys who is in it for the long haul, regardless of what happens.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's one of the biggest things for me is like the guitar is such a beautiful instrument because like right now I'm 28 years old and like I'm very grateful. People always have nice things to say about my guitar playing and stuff, but like for myself, I haven't even cracked like the surface of what is possible.
Yeah.
And just listening to my heroes or just even when I look at the guitar, it's just like that's like a lifelong thing. I got a guitar beside me, that's what I'm looking.
Of course you do, yeah.
That's like a lifelong thing that you like if you really, really love it, you're going to take that with you for the rest of your life. And
Yeah.
even let's say it's always, I don't want to say like a hobby, but what if it never goes farther than what your dreams or aspirations are, you always have it to take with you through life and you can always learn. There's always something to learn. You'll never master the instrument. You'll only learn more about it. So
yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it, I think. And I mean, like you said, you're 28, which is still really young. And a lot of people are, have not been playing anywhere near as long as you, and they're still starting out, and they're still going to be doing it, for life as well, right? So you have a bit of a leg up in the sense that you've just been plugging away at it for as long as you have at such a young age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just so much fun and it's just such a beautiful process because every day you practice, you hear yourself get a little bit better. And even if you don't hear yourself getting better, at least you know that from previous experience, like we all start out not knowing anything about it, and then you can kind of play a note or you can play a bunch of notes or like a chord or like
Yeah.
you learn your first song and it's just like you realize that as you like dig away at it, you'll always kind of reach where you're wanting to go.
Yeah, that's I like that. I like the way of thinking of it like that. It's yeah, because I think a lot of people see it as this unsurmountable challenge. Like they learn a couple chords and it's like, okay, I can play a Ramones song, but I can't play whatever the much more complicated thing is. But I mean, everyone starts off with 3 chords and figuring that out from there. So I mean, it's not like there's no limit, right? You can just keep building and building and building. It's like any other kind of discipline, I guess, right? You just have to keep developing it, and eventually you'll get better.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing with music is as you like build and work on it, you get to meet other people who are maybe at a higher level than you.
Yeah.
I don't know if higher level is a good word because music's not a competition, but you meet people who know more than you and they'll share their knowledge. And maybe like every single musician, whether they're starting out or they've been playing for, like you had said, 70 years,
Yeah.
everybody has something to offer each other, which is a really beautiful thing. I think
Totally.
that's what makes music so beautiful.
So now that we're coming out of the pandemic, hopefully, I mean, who knows what's happening with this, but it seems like, shows are happening, things are opening up a little bit. What does this kind of near future look like for you with your project?
So we're super excited. I just want to say, like, when you said shows are happening again, I just saw Helix at Bulldog Pizza.
Okay.
And that was so rad.
That's a weird venue for that, eh? Like it's but yeah, sorry, go on.
Oh, no worries at all. No, it was such a great show. Such an amazing time. I actually brought my mom because she's the one who got me into rock and roll.
Okay.
So I took her with me and she was singing every word and she was just having the greatest time. I'm so grateful for that experience. Like just to see live music again.
Yeah.
Is just like it's almost surreal.
It is. Yeah. It feels like it feels like you're doing something wrong, like
yeah,
I was at
the
the propaganda show at the Park Theater, one of the 3 there, and yeah, it was amazing, and I loved it, and I was like happy as I've been in a long time, just being able to be at a show with one of my favorite bands and everything. But yeah, it's this kind of like, are we really? Is it cool? Are we allowed to be here? Like even with
Yeah.
masks and vaccine cards and everything, it's just sort of so like, is this okay yet?
Yeah, you're kind of looking around. It's kind of like, is everybody
Yeah,
okay here? Like, what's no,
yeah.
that's amazing. How, oh man, I got so many questions about that show. Like, how was that show? Like, just was it just unreal? Like, they're such an amazing band. I just kind of got started getting into them like lately, but
Yeah, yeah, super cool.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, at the Park Theater too. It was the newly renovated park, and it was the first time they really had any shows there when I was at the propaganda show. So yeah, it was cool to see that and see that they're opening up again and shows are happening again. I like.
Yeah.
There's definitely optimism, I think, kind of in the air right now, and I'm hoping that as winter comes around, that for everyone's sake, that it doesn't sort of take a turn or take a step backwards. But do you have shows like planned, or are you hoping to get shows planned?
Yeah, so we got there's a couple in May that I can't say anything about just because
Sure.
they haven't been announced yet.
That's a ways off anyway.
Yeah, for sure. We've actually got out of town shows booked, so we're really gonna focus on doing out of town going forward.
Cool.
We just released a new single called Mary Jane, which is like such a fun song. We're so proud of it, but we're going back in the studio in December. So our plan right now is record an EP in December, release it around springtime, and then hit the summer hard with shows. We're doing August 19th and 20th in Thunder Bay
Cool.
at the Wayland Bar. I'm okay with announcing that because I don't think there's anything saying we can't announce that, but
Well, and it's almost a year away too, right? So it's
yeah.
yeah.
But getting lots of show offers. I've put my kind of like, what's the saying? Had it or I've put my name in the fold for a couple bigger shows, like at the Burt, just kind of see if they need local support.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's going good. Like just the optimism. There's so many great shows going on. We're gonna work hard, get some new music out there, and then we'll be back out there again for sure.
Where do you think you I may have asked you this years ago when we first did an interview, but where do you think you fit in within the local music scene? Because I mean, as we've discussed already a few times here, I mean, you are perceived as being the rock guy, and I mean that's obviously your influences, and your sound is very much rock and roll, right? But do you think that you have sort of a style that is, it can sort of shift and get yourself into bills with, you know, maybe heavier bands and maybe something that's not so rock?
For sure, yeah. That's in terms of where I kind of like lie in the scene. I'm not too. I'm as far as I'm concerned. I'm here. I'm friends. I love and support everybody.
Yeah,
I love and enjoy what everybody's doing. In terms of my own band, that's the beautiful thing. We've worked hard to kind of put ourselves in a place where we can go do like a metal show, or we can go open for like an alternative rock band. Like we can do it all
yeah.
essentially. And I hope that's not like egotistical to say that,
No,
but
no, I
we've
don't think
reached
so.
a
No.
yeah, we've reached a level of songwriting where like we have our heavier stuff and we have our softer stuff that kind of fits more the mainstream. And we very strategically done it in a way where we can fit on any bill that anybody needs us and we'll win the crowd over. So it's a really nice thing.
Well, part of that, I guess, has got to be the live show too, right? I mean, that's obviously a key component. Yeah, just based on all the videos of you performing, you know, that are on YouTube, going back to when you were a lot younger too, where the theatrical aspect of it is definitely
Yeah.
there with just some of the guitar stuff. Like you've definitely developed that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's funny. There's been so many situations where we'll play for an audience who's never seen us before, and maybe the audience isn't too sure of what they think of us. And then I'll pull out behind the head guitar solo, or I'll play with my teeth,
Yeah,
or I'll like throw the guitar up in the air, throw my picks and catch them, that type of thing. And those are always good tricks to kind of win the crowd over. Like
for
people
sure.
really love that stuff, and it lets me pay respect to some of my heroes like Jimi Hendrix, who behind the
Sure.
head
Yeah.
with it too,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I love it. I think it's lots of fun. So
How much of that is spontaneous, and how much of it is planned? Like, is there a certain part in the set where you know this would be a good moment to do the behind the head thing, or do you just sort of throw it out when you're depending on the crowd's energy?
It's usually dependent on the crowd's energy. With our set that we were doing before the pandemic there, we had like choreographed spots. Like there was
Okay.
one spot in the song where we were doing like a riff and we would do kicks like every time it stopped. Like we would do fun stuff like that. But for me, doing behind the head and stuff, like I would do it spontaneous. If I saw somebody was really into it, like they
Yeah.
were like just like having the greatest time, I'd like point at them, do one-handed like solos, or
Yeah.
I'd walk out into the crowd and do the behind the head, or I'd lift my guitar up and let them pluck the chord or whatever. So
Yeah. I mean, I can see that for sure, especially if it's a younger person too. Maybe one of their first shows, they're seeing that. That's
yeah.
gonna definitely make an impact, right, on their desire to see more live shows, I think.
Mhm.
But do you think that that kind of, I don't want to call it theatrics, but that kind of like stage presence is, do you think that's kind of lacking at this point in time in terms of popular music? Because I mean, I know things have definitely shifted in terms of what's mainstream, if there even is a mainstream now in the streaming world. But just like the idea of a guitar solo is just not there in a lot of kind of popular, well, pop songs for sure, but even in some rock songs, the idea of that being a very important section of the track is not necessarily the case anymore. So do you feel like that kind of style you're doing, I don't want to say it's old because I don't think it's out of date or anything, but do
Mhm.
you think there's kind of like is it missing in today's music scene?
Um, that's a really good question. I'm not in terms of my own taste, that's the stuff that I'm into. That's what
Sure.
gets me excited. I don't know if it's necessarily missing in terms of like music today. Like I actually really love a lot of music today, even though it doesn't have guitar solos and stuff like that. I don't know if it's necessarily missing. I don't I see a lot of arguments that, oh, like this generation doesn't know how to play, or stuff like that, and that's
Yeah.
why it's not added in there. I don't know. Like there's some unbelievable musicians out there playing in popular
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
bands. Yeah, like I don't know if it's necessarily, I think it's just through time trends have changed. Maybe guitar solos aren't as popular these days. I can't really speak on if I think it's missing. I just know for me personally, like my band will always have guitar solos
Yeah.
as long as I play music, because I want to, like, that's the stuff that I love, and that's, I always want to pay respect to my heroes. So you'll always, if you come to a Ronnie Ladobruk in the Electric show, or you come to see me play, you'll always hear a guitar solo, or you'll always hear um something outside of just regular
Yeah.
guitar playing, because that's the stuff that I love. I don't know, like, to answer your question, I don't know if it's missing. All I know is that for me, I'll add it if it is missing.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, that's a good way of approaching it too, for sure. And like, I mean, this is probably also just me being an old man and being like, damn kids. But I think I often wonder too if just the way that music is consumed now and the way that people approach just music as a passion and as an interest is a lot less. There's a lot less time, I think, just in general for across all generations devoted to listening. Right, everything is shuffled or is skipping to the next track or at time. What's it called? Like people's focus attention span seems to be shorter for for art in general. So I wonder if that
yeah.
maybe has something to do. It's not a question really. It's just like a brain fart. But like, do you think that might be part of it? People are kind of programmed now to want things quick and instant, and putting a big section like a long guitar solo in a song that draws it out, and that requires actually involved listening rather than just passive listening.
For sure. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Time, like attention spans are definitely way shorter these days.
Yeah.
Um, I don't, I can only really speak on what I know. And when I worked as a guitar teacher, you would see young kids come in, not just young kids, but people of all age demographics. And the one thing that was always consistent was an appreciation for great musicianship.
Yeah.
I think that to say that stuff is missing because of attention spans and stuff, maybe maybe I don't believe that. Because I always think like great art or great music will always be appreciated, even if it's not by the majority.
Yeah.
If it's just like a select um amount of people, it'll always be appreciated. Um, I hope that answers that. Like
No, it
I
does. Yeah.
like art what I think of it. So
Well, yeah, and again, like I mean, it's not necessarily that whatever has kind of now with trends has replaced the guitar solo in popular music, that involves a degree of musicianship as well. Whatever it is that's now sort of taken that spot in pop music anyway, is yeah, there's skill involved and talent involved in making that happen. Whether it's a sample or whether it's playing something on a synth or whatever it is, right? Like there's still that element there. I think it always will be there of someone being creative and coming up with something unique.
and I think the cool thing though too is like even though it may not be that prevalent in music today, like you'll always see people react to like great playing. So like
Yeah,
if you see somebody who's not maybe into like rock music or something, but they see a great guitar player in concert, like they'll always go nuts for it. And I'll like take like AC/DC as an example. Like so many of the younger generation, so much of the younger generation loves AC/DC. Maybe it's because of their parents liking it,
yeah,
or something like that. But like I mean, it's super cool when you see like when I was a guitar teacher, you'd see a young kid come in and maybe all their friends are listening to music that's not rock music, but this kid comes in so stoked. He wants to learn Angus Young solo, and he
yeah,
wants to. That's what he wants to do. And I even had a former student who actually started out learning the guitar. And then I found out recently that he's actually doing like how would you even say the genre of music is like SoundCloud rap and stuff like
oh yeah,
that.
okay, yeah.
And like even though he's gone from playing guitar to doing the SoundCloud rap and stuff, like I just think there'll always be that connection to the guitar, like because you always hear it in that music too. Like there's always
Right.
maybe a sample of a lick or something like that. But
Yeah, the connection to that instrument is going to carry through to whatever it is, even if it's not an obvious one. Yeah, yeah.
mhm.
So, where can people find your music now? I mean, the good thing about this being a podcast is someone could hear it the day it comes out, or they could hear it a year later, and by then, all those shows that you're hoping to get, they could be, on the schedule, ready to go. You could have new music out. What's sort of the best way to follow you online and find what you're up to?
Yeah, for sure. So RonnieLadobruk.com, that's kind of like your main source of finding out everything we're doing. You can find us, search Ronnie Ladobruk and the Electric on Spotify, iTunes. We're on all the streaming stuff. Um, when our EP is done, we'll probably have some CDs available because
Cool.
I'm very much you were saying being a grumpy old man. I'm the same way with CDs. Like I don't
Yeah, me
think
too.
they'll ever go out of style. Like when you can hold a CD, that's sweet. I love that. Like or a vinyl or like
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm very outspoken about being into physical media rather than I mean I know streaming is the way that the majority of listeners do it now, but there's always going to be an appeal to having the physical product in your hand. You can sit down and listen to start to finish. It's a different vibe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, any of the streaming services, RonnieLadobruk.com. I'm always on Facebook sharing or YouTube. Just search up Ronnie Ladobruk, you'll find me there. And
Cool.